Welcome to another episode of the Buzz City Breakdown, hosted by Hornets On SI. I'm Evan Campos, joined by Albert Böttcher. We are both writers for Hornets On SI. Today, we have assembled here to grade every Charlotte Hornets rotation player post All-Star break. Should be super fun, exciting to do. But before any of that, how you doing, Albert? How are you, brother?
Personally doing pretty well. I'd be doing better if any of the other playing teams would decide to lose a game, maybe now and then, but otherwise, pretty good.
I got you, bro. I'm good as well. Spring break for me at my college, so definitely an ideal time of the year for me. But before we get to the grades, I did want to ask you, Albert, what's sort of your micro take on this team right now? Because we were talking about individual players during this podcast, I think it's important to talk about how the team's playing, right? During these 9 games, 2.5 weeks, basically. Charlotte is 6-3. They have the best net rating during the stretch, plus 15, I believe. Best offense, top 16, around 16-ish defense. 5th in rebounds, 8th in assists. Tied for 1st in three-point percentage. They've also averaged an absurd 20 made three-pointers during these 9 games, which is 4 ahead of second place, which is Golden State. So, yeah, just elite basketball being played by Charlotte right now. So I guess, Albert, what sort of things are standing out to you in particular with just the way this team's operating as we sit here on March 8th?
You mentioned all of the statistical stuff, but what's really stood out to me when I went through these 9 games now, post All-Star break, is how together the team was through all of the kind of adversity it had to face. They had to deal, obviously, with Houston and Cleveland without Miles and Moussa due to the suspensions. And I think we're going to get to that later, with Ryan stepping in and all of that stuff. But they did a really, really good job of kind of just keeping on. And going on throughout these games. Of course, they lost against Cleveland, they lost against Houston, but those were close games still, even without 2 starters. Then they kind of ran through a number of opponents, Washington, Indiana, of course, and Boston in TD Garden, which is incredibly impressive. I think If you tell that to anybody to start the season, nobody would believe you. And then, of course, coming off of the loss against Miami was a bit of a tough one. But what really stood out to me, on top of all the statistical stuff you mentioned, was how they managed to just keep the course even throughout the suspensions, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say people might look at a 9-game sample size and say, well, that's not really that much. But I will say this is the meaningful basketball Hornets fans have really yearned for a long time, because they just haven't really seen it, right? The past few years, the team's just been ravaged by injuries, and their season's basically over in December or whatever, or LaMelo is just out. So I think that this specific stretch of basketball is just important to me because it's meaningful. It's for playoff position. That Heat game was literally basically sort of a playoff playing sort of circumstantial game. You know what I'm saying? So it means something, right? So that's why I feel this is important. So with that being said, we can get to the grades now. We can start with LaMelo because he's the best player on this team. Definitely an interesting stretch for him for sure. Before you give your grade, Albert, I'll go off his counting stats. He's at basically 19 points, 8 assists, 5 boards. He's a tad under 38% from the field during the stretch, which isn't good, but he is 37% from 3 on 11 attempts, which is pretty good. But yeah, I feel we might disagree a little bit on LaMelo, but what is your grade for LaMelo Ball during these 9 games?
Let's see. I've got him at a B. It was tough for me, and it's always tough when you talk about LaMelo because he does so much for this team. Offensively, he opens up so many pathways that you don't have when you've got Tre Mann on the floor as point guard. even with Coby White, you don't have a lot of the things that LaMelo gives you. So to not give him an A almost feels mean, in a way, because he gives you so much, but you demand even more, and you have to demand even more from a player like him. And yet, as you said, he's at 37.8% from the field, 36.5% from three, which is like fine. It's okay. But then obviously only 40% from 2 point range, which is just not enough. And I think that's something that we've seen a lot this season from him, that he kind of struggles to, when the 3 point shot isn't falling, he struggles to get into the paint, get a couple of easy ones in there, and then get his rhythm and maybe go back outside later in the game. And that's something I kind of hoped I'd see more from him post All-Star break. And that's something we haven't seen so far. Also, something, maybe you'll talk about this too, that stood out to me kind of negatively was that the defensive effort was a bit up and down, I'd say. Of course, he's never going to be a great ball stopper or anything defensively. He's not going to lock anybody down. But especially in the Cleveland game, I thought he had quite a bit of trouble with Merrill. He had a bit of trouble with Tyler Hero against Miami.
They all kind of did, to be honest. But
yeah, I mean, of course, Tyler Hero also. I don't want to swear anything or anything like that,
yeah,
but
this dude was special. He was special.
He was hitting all kinds of shots. So this is not
Yeah.
saying it was all LaMelo's fault, of course,
Mm-hmm.
but I'd say the lack of efficiency probably brings him down to a B plus for me, and then the small defensive things bring him down to a B.
Yeah, I think a lot of that's fair. I would say, uh, my just general opinion on LaMelo is probably higher than a lot of people. Like when people were saying they need to get rid of him, I never thought that was a really good option. I have LaMelo at A minus. I get the inefficiency. He has been inefficient, no doubt. He really has been all year. Um, does he take bad shots? Of course. But when I think of the Hornets having a good offensive performance, what entails that, or them having the best offense in basketball, LaMelo's just the most essential part of that, really. So for me, I just weigh his ability to bend the defense, create advantages, the playmaking, the sort of speed, pace he plays with, the creativity, the shot making. I just weigh all that stuff more than I guess a handful of bad shots he takes a game, because sort of the reality with LaMelo is that, or I guess why what makes him a special basketball player is, or I guess the self belief, the confidence, right? That I can do anything on a basketball court. So what might be considered a bad decision or a shot for most NBA players, that's LaMelo's game in a lot of ways. He is a bad shot taker. He is a bad shot maker, right?
Yeah,
He's a tough
for
decision
sure, for
maker.
sure.
He's a tough playmaker. That's what makes him special, right? So like that kind of just comes with him, him being your franchise player, if that makes sense. But with the team rolling the way it is, I think he's been excellent for the most part. Aside from the Heat game, he like kind of too much, if that makes sense. Too much shot chucking, too much, some bad fouls in there. I do think on defense he's been, somewhat a defensive playmaker, just using his long arms, his feel for the game to get steals, playing gaps a little bit. Yeah, I don't know, A minus for me, if that makes sense.
Makes total sense to me. I mean, as I said already, it feels kind of wrong to go below an A with him because
Mm-hmm.
again, he does so much. But when somebody does so much for you, sometimes it's just give me that little bit more. Give me those maybe 45% from 2 point range,
Yeah,
and that would kind of make the difference for me. One
yeah.
stat that I found to be
Go ahead, go ahead.
typical was against Cleveland with LaMelo on. They had an offensive rating of 150, which is insane. And they had a defensive rating of 140. So that's kind of the LaMelo experience for you right there.
Well, I think that speaks to them not having Moussa as well. Um,
For sure, for sure. Yeah.
yeah. because he's such a big part. We'll get to him, but yeah, let's get to Brandon. I'll go ahead and get my grade for Brandon since you gave your LaMelo's first. I have Brandon at A minus as well. During these 9 games, he's at basically 22, 6 boards, 4 assists, 48 from the field, 43.5 from three. Shoot, true shooting percentage of 63% or 63 per clean the glass. Brandon's at 94 percentile of all forwards in usage during these 9 games. So he's being relied on a lot, obviously. 79 percentile on points per shot attempt. His assist percentage has jumped to 92nd percentile during these 9 games, which is really awesome. That's really like something that we've seen all year with Brandon, just the decision making, the playmaking being better than last year. I will say like it's an A minus for me because of the turnovers. His turnover percentage is 17.2%. That's like 7th percentile, so that's pretty bad. I get the one thing I will say about Brandon, like he has been a bucket during the stretch. Like he's been their leading scorer. He's been shooting really well, but I just like I guess like where he is as a player right now, as like a creator, he's just like not really good enough to like not have like a table setter with him. So he like kind of needs LaMelo or Coby White out there right now for like the offense kind of to function like well, I would say. But like, what is your grade for Brandon during these nine
Uh,
games?
I've got him at a B, just like LaMelo. Kind of
Wow, hard grader.
building off of what you said, because I totally agree that he needs someone still to set the table for him. And that
Yep.
was really obvious to me when he had to be the table setter himself in that stretch without Coby White when he was still injured. So the first couple of games post All-Star break, where he shot 6 of 19 against Cleveland, he shot 5 of 22 against Houston, basically shot them out of the game in that one. Um, that was just a bit too much for me. Those
Yeah.
first
Can I
couple
say
of
something on
games.
that Houston
Yeah,
game? That
yeah.
I was at both of those Cleveland Houston games in media row, and just like what I don't know if you feel like this, but when I watch Brandon, he has like a very like loose handle, if that makes sense. Like it's I get he's like 6'9" and very tall, but it's just like I don't know. It's too loose. It's too loose right now to be like a very efficient like I guess like
Be the main
spread.
guy. Yeah.
I'm just saying like operate in like a spread pick and roll like constantly for you for like a entire game or well that won't happen now, but I'm just saying like going forward like that's like the next kind of I guess step for him to become like this all NBA superstar player, right? Because right now he's kind of just like a movement shooter. He definitely like has playmaking chops. He can operate in the pick and roll, but like that's something he needs to like actively get better at. And he hasn't had like a lot of time because he's been injured to like get in the gym and stuff. But I think
For
it
sure. I
speaks to
mean,
what you're saying too. Yeah.
it's also not on him that he has to lead those lineups when Kobe's out. It's
Mm-hmm.
just the roster. It is what it is. So I won't hold it against him that he's taking 22 shots and maybe, a couple of turnovers in there. That's just how it goes. But to me, 5 of 22, 6 of 19 in 2 very close games was just a tad bit too much. But you really do have to hand it to him. He's been much more efficient since Kobe came back,
Yep.
which I think again
Absolutely.
speaks to kind of somebody just taking a little bit of the creation load off him, already helping him massively. And then also he's put points on the board, even in the Cleveland game, even in the Houston game, where he's not being efficient. But at the end of the night, you look at the scoreboard and he's up there at 18,
Mm-hmm.
17, 19 somewhere. And I think he's maybe with Con, we'll talk about him. He's kind of the only guy on the team who really each night will give you that solid 17, 18. Might not always be efficient, might not always be
Yeah.
pretty,
I,
but
I I get what you're
it'll be
saying.
there.
Yeah. He'll give you at least like 20-ish points. One last thing I'll say on Brandon, he is like still like a very slight player, very skinny. So like during like that Houston game we were talking about, he's just like getting pushed off his spots a lot. Because he just is like slight. So when he gets like heated up, like that's kind of my sort of like concern with him in like a playoff setting. If they play like Detroit or something, he gets like heated up. sped up and just like loses the ball, I guess. But I have been impressed with him as a 3 level scorer, two-way player during this stretch. So A minus for me. I know you're a tougher grader than me, but yeah,
We'll see,
we
we'll
can
see.
go
I
on.
feel like I'm gonna get more positive as time goes on.
Okay, we can go to Miles Bridges. He's only played 6 games, but because of suspension, obviously, and that whole thing. But he's at 11 and a half, 4 boards, 3 assists during the stretch. I'll go ahead and get my grade as well. I'm at solid B. I can't really complain much about Miles. I think he's like scaled down his role a lot, compared to earlier in the season to like this now like fourth, fifth option, right? He's like just kind of like a role player, but he has like bought into the Charles Lee like quicker decision making offensive system. I like his cutting. I like his rebounding. Of course, he's like one of the best rebounders on the team. I like his like. I think he's done better as an off ball defender compared to last year, but it's still not perfect. I like his offense initiation, and he just like brings, I guess, like more juice with the basketball than a guy like Grant or Salaun, which is very like valuable um, when just like scouting a team or whatever. So, what have you thought of Miles during this stretch?
I'm starting to notice a trend. I've got him at a C plus. So again,
Okay,
a little bit lower than you, but
slightly lower. I got you.
I kind of agree with what you said. I think it's been very positive for him that we've seen LaMelo, Brandon consistently. We've seen Con have a really, really strong season. And for him to kind of be able to step back into not having to take a bunch of shots each night, having to create for himself, which he had to do in the past couple of years. I think that's really helped him also in the past couple of games. But then again, do I feel like he's a, a big positive for this team or even like a noticeable positive? I'm not quite sure. Uh, he does bring a different skill set to the table than Grant for sure, but I'm not convinced that it's the necessarily the more fitting skill set. I'd say we're gonna get to Grant later, and I can already
Yeah,
spoil that I have a higher grade for him. So
for sure. Yeah, Grant's. I mean, Grant's been one of the best players on this team during the stretch, but I do see what you're saying. They're very like different type of players, and like I guess like the way Miles was playing earlier in the year was definitely like didn't really make a lot of sense with this offensive system. But I do think he's bought into the system. More importantly, like he's averaging like 11 now, so he's definitely like scaled down. Like I said, like bought in more defensively. I think he's. I don't know. I do think he's important to this team. Like maybe he won't close games for you, but in like a regular season, like just 82 games, I think he's been like a good starter for this team for majority of the year. Like obviously he's had bad performances, particularly when like LaMelo and Brandon were out and it was like him and Tre Mann closing games. Like obviously that's not what Miles like that's not the best ideal version of Miles, but I do I can understand like a C plus grade sort of. I don't
I
think he's
think
been great, but I think he's been solid good.
for me, it's just maybe also that his skill set is kind of too similar to Brandon and LaMelo in a way where he's a very offensive minded player.
Yeah,
He's a
he's also been
very
inefficient, just like LaMelo.
exactly.
So
It's a very a lot of scoring, a lot of maybe not the highest defensive effort you'll get,
mhm.
and so I'd probably prefer a guy with a bit of a different skill set compared to the other guys you already have.
Okay, I got you. I got you. We'll move on to Diabate. Also, has only played 6 games because of suspension, but yeah, I mean his counting stats. He's at 10. It's basically 10-10. 10 points, 10 boards, 3.5 assists, a block. We all know like Moussa's counting stats don't like truly show the impact he makes on the team. But Albert, what is your grade for Diabate during post All Star break?
I think you're not gonna expect this, but it's an A plus.
I have him as an A plus too. All right, yeah,
So
A plus. Yep.
I mean, where to even start? It's the
Just
expectations,
unbelievable player, man.
the expectations that were there to start the
Yeah,
season. even though he
Absolutely.
had like a strong finish last year, but who saw this coming? I wrote down some stats from the centers he faced during this 9 game stretch.
Hmm.
He faced Bam, who went 10 of 26 from the field. He faced Neemias Queta from Boston, 2 points. Donovan Clingan, Portland, 7 points. J Huff, 7 points. And then Gershon Yabusele, who maybe not really a center for the Bulls, but he went 3 of 8 from the field. So his impact defensively cannot be overstated. And these are only the bigs. He switches onto guards, he switches onto wings, and
Yep.
gets stops. It's incredible.
Yeah. Like you kind of said, what stands out to me with Moose is really just him as an athlete, right? Like his lateral foot speed, his like defensive range, allowing him to switch, like play at the level, like being like a rim protector in the drop. Like obviously he rebounds relentlessly. Like he's one of the best offensive rebounders in the league. He makes like the right reads when he's given the ball in like a short roll or just like the sets they run. He really is like one of the most important players on this team. And we definitely saw that like when he was out, right? We saw. I'm not gonna say like the rebounding slip because it really didn't, but I think just the defensive scheme versatility with it's just completely
For sure.
different
Yeah.
with him compared to like Cockburner, who you're just gonna play like a drop with. So I do think like Moussa, kind of like what I was saying with LaMelo, like how he's like the most essential piece to the offense. I feel like that's the way Moussa is for the defense. So yeah, A plus in my mind. I have no. You're not gonna see me critique Diabate on here, man. You have any other thoughts?
Just one more stat that I saw because it speaks to not only him being great defensively, but he also does a lot offensively for the team. Post All-Star break, he's second in screen assists per game. And ahead of him was, I think, Lawson
Great
Lovering, who
stat.
played like 1 game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can kind of even throw him out and say he's first. And it's just, again, speaks to the way he puts so much effort onto the court, into
Yeah.
the screens, into his defense.
It's honestly like
Incredible player.
inspiring, to be honest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
This dude,
When
this
I
dude's
watch
like,
Moussa Diabate, I want to
yeah.
get stuff done. Yeah, it's crazy.
I want to write more when I watch Moussa Diabate. No, that's funny, man. Yeah, I mean, he's just been like a top 10, 12 center of this league, like this year,
Yeah,
right?
I
I
agree.
mean, yeah, it's unbelievable. We can move on to a bench player, a new guy, Coby White. He's only played
We
5 games for Charlotte now.
we got to get to
Uh,
Con though.
yeah, yeah. We'll get to Con.
Okay.
Uh, what have you just thought of Coby? What is your grade for him? Um, yeah, like I said, he's only played 5 games, but what have you thought of the Coby White experience with Charlotte so far?
Pretty good. We talked about how Brandon isn't ready to be that table setter yet, kind of.
Hmm.
And for sure, you've noticed in the games where Coby has played um, after his injury that it's been good for the team as a whole, also for Sion, who we'll get to later, who also had to kind of fill that backup guard spot, do a bit of ball handling, which I thought he wasn't comfortable with. So Coby coming in, being able to take that load off of the other guys was really, really good in my opinion.
Hmm.
Um, and he's such a versatile offensive player to where I thought Colin was kind of sometimes he puts his head out and just goes to the rim and tries to get something, and it's a bit of he's not sharing the ball enough. He's not seeing his teammates, maybe not being patient enough. And this is the kind of stuff you get from Coby White offensively more so, I think.
Yeah, I've Kobe as a B plus. I will say I don't think he's like 100% himself right now. He does look like gimpy at times to me. Funny enough, like I played lacrosse in high school. I had like a calf strain my junior year, and it does like suck for sure. It lingers. I would describe it like as your like legs sort of like being tight, and it really like messes with your ability to be on your toes, which is very important for a basketball player. Obviously, like Coby White gets better treatment than we did at my high school, but yeah, it kind of speaks to that him not being 100% healthy. Like you kind of said, he hasn't shot the ball great. I've just appreciated like his ability to be a three-level scorer, to be like a strong driver. He really does like have good size for a point guard. Um, Unlike Colin Sexton, who's like 6'1", Coby White's like a solid 6'5" with the afro, so he's a big guard. And yeah, I just think he's like a bigger, better version of Sexton in a lot of ways. And yeah, I've just
Yeah,
been really impressed. Despite
agreed.
despite him like not yeah, despite him not like being totally healthy, I think.
Yeah, I've also got him at a B plus, and I mean, can't disagree with anything you said. Another little stat to throw out there: he's had a positive plus minus in each of his
Yeah.
games so far. Of course, doesn't mean he's always had a great game, but kind of shows that he's helped that bench lineup a lot, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Just helps like having him as an option. Really, I will say like he's got to shoot the three ball better. He's got to finish at the rim better. I believe he's 12th percentile in his game so far for a guard at the rim. So yeah, he's got to finish better there. But yeah, I mean, he's been pretty good so far. We'll get to Sion James next. I promise we'll get to Con in a second. But Sion
I'm
James,
just so excited to talk about Hornets. I'm sorry.
yeah, I mean, yeah, he's awesome. But let's grab Sion real quick. I've Sion as an A minus for me during these games. I just think, simply put, he's being like maximized in his ideal role better with like them just being fully healthy, having Bridges, Diabate, Coby White back. He's just not being asked to be like the backup point guard, which like isn't Sion's game, right? I mean, he was like this in college. Like he wasn't a backup. He's not a point guard, right? So for example, like Sion during these 9 games, his usage for guards is in the first percentile. So he's literally like barely touching the ball, which in my mind is kind of perfect for where he is as an offensive
Yeah,
player right
yeah.
now. Like that is kind of like the ideal Sion role. Like for me, like the ideal Sion is playing tough, great on ball defense, being a connector at times, and just kind of like attacking closeouts, being a spacer, and just like making a play or two when the ball swung to him. Really, like him being asked to initiate offense is like not what he's good at, right? And credit to the staff for like knowing that and getting Coby White and not asking him to do what he's not good at right now. So yeah, fully healthy. I think Sion's played his role pretty perfectly. Um, you know, are his like advanced stats good? I mean, most of them aren't for the season, but I feel like he's a guy you have to kind of like watch just how hard he plays, what he gives them defensively. Yeah, I have him at A minus. I think he's been pretty excellent during these 9 games or so.
I don't want to be like the bad guy, but I've got him at a B. Um, Again, I agree with a lot of stuff you said. Coby White really did wonders for him. Him not having to,
Maybe our school metric systems are different, like in America compared to Germany.
yeah,
Yeah,
might be,
no,
might
go
be.
ahead. Yeah,
I,
but
I agree with what you said. He's
yeah,
him not having to initiate offense is great for him. That's not who he is. That's not who he'll ever be, probably. So him not having to do that is fantastic. Um, Playing off ball, being kind of that connective guy, again, what you talked about, not having a lot of touches, but making decisions maybe more towards the end of a play, either shooting it or spreading it or doing that kind of stuff. I think that suits him much more.
mhm.
And another thing that stood out to me positively before I get to the negative stuff is he can really stay in front of guys defensively. And I think he proved that again against Houston with Kevin Durant, against Cleveland, where he had to guard Harden for a good amount of time. And his ability to not get beaten off the drive was really, really impressive to me. Do
Yeah.
you have anything negative on Sion before I try to justify my B grade?
Not really negative. I just like think he's a limited, like extremely limited offensive player. That's just like who he kind of is right now. So, like I said, like credit to the staff for like knowing that and putting him in an ideal spot to like maximize who he is on both ends. So I don't really have like I don't think he's like doing anything bad per se, like performing bad. I just think this is like who he is as a player, like kind of is right now. He's kind of limited, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. Of course, offensively, he's never going to give you big numbers, probably, at least not anytime soon.
Yeah,
But this is maybe also a fault on the staff or a fault on the roster construction. Maybe I shouldn't have put this against Sion. Now that I'm thinking about it, I feel bad. But he could not stop KD in the Houston game. Like, not at all. And even though
yeah,
he
I get.
stayed in front of him, KD, I
I
think
mean,
he shot like 7
that's
jumpers over
tough,
him.
man. I don't put that all on Sion, but I mean, yeah, I mean, Durant was great in that game. I mean, they threw a few guys on him, and yeah, I mean, he wasn't really missing anybody. And what is Sion, like 6'5" maybe?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, he's like giving up like 5 inches of height, man. Like it's just a
Yeah,
tough matchup. Uh, that like spoke to them not having Miles Bridges though, like not having like
that's
missing their
true. Yeah.
front court, right? Because they probably would have threw Bridges on him and other guys, but yeah, we can move on to Con now. Um,
Finally, finally.
yeah, I got you. So my two highest, well, I actually had three A pluses. So
Oh,
Diabate was one. We have one more that we haven't got to. I think Khan's my second one. I have Khan at A plus. His numbers are great. His efficiency is great. He's like, I think like elevated the standard of this franchise in a lot of ways. What stands out to me is just like what we talked about seeing, like his ability to attack closeouts, navigate like space when the defense is in like a drop, play spread pick and roll, be this movement score spacer, like be a great screener operating the short roll. Like he's just like a weapon, right? A really like great offensive weapon as a rookie. I do think he's been solid defensively, in my opinion. So A plus.
okay. I've got him at an A minus, so we're getting
Okay.
closer to each other.
Yes.
Um, I mean,
Okay.
he's incredible. Not even for a rookie, he's just incredible, flat out. He's shooting 48.8% from three since the All Star break,
Yeah.
58.8% from two. He had 33 against Cleveland, 28 against Washington, 28 against Indiana, 27 against Miami. He's got a net rating of 24.1. He, I mean, defensively, I'll get to it in a minute, but I think he really tries defensively, which makes up for him not.
He's like a he's not like a he's a like sturdy guy, if that makes sense. Like even
Yeah,
though he's not
for
like a
sure.
great athlete, like he's not gonna get pushed around. Like he might get blown by a few times, but I do think he's been solid all year on that end.
Yeah, that's one of the two negatives I had on him. Is the first one he does sometimes there'll be like a couple of drives each game where he just can't keep up. And
Yeah.
I mean, feels again similar to LaMelo, feels kind of mean to even complain about it, but that's how it is. And then also something I feel like Con has struggled with a bit all year is bad pass turnovers.
Mhm.
He has like a tendency to jump
Great
in the
point.
air on drives
Yeah.
and just kind of get lost in the air and throwing it somewhere just in the hope that somebody will get to it. And sometimes it doesn't pan out. And that's like the one thing where I feel like you can really tell he's still a rookie.
hmm Yeah, I think that speaks to what we were talking about, Brandon. Like I would say Khan has like a 6 out of 10 handle, kind of. He also doesn't like have a great handle. He doesn't like create that much separation. So again, like when he's asked to initiate offense, that's not like his ideal. Like he can do that, but that's not the ideal version of him. That's kind of like the theme of this episode. But yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, I mean, I don't like. How can you complain about Khan? Really? I mean,
Yeah.
you can. Yeah,
Let's move on to the next one because it's
yeah. I got you. He's just such an added player. Another additive rookie is Ryan Kalkbrenner. What is your grade for Ryan during these 9 games? He's at 6 points, 5 boards, a block and a half. What do you have Ryan at?
an A. I thought I
Okay,
was I was worried
nice.
heading into those, especially those Houston and Cleveland games without Moussa,
Yeah,
and I think he did a perfectly fine job. of course, it's going to be tough playing against Jared Allen, especially against Şengün, whose whole game is based on like his mobility and spinning. And that's something that Ryan has kind of struggled with this year, defending bigs who are more mobile or who can kind of get him moving in the post. But he had very solid games against them. Rebounding was pretty good against Cleveland, especially. I thought he did a very good job against Jared Allen. Of course, with Ryan, you also get like the sometimes offensive sequences where you wish he just dunked the ball or he'd just be a bit more aggressive. But
Yeah.
apart from like nitpicking, I have nothing to complain about. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I have Ryan at a B. I don't think he's been like awesome, if that makes sense. I do think for the most part Ryan's been, continued to be like this additive, serious rotation big. Which is kind of like a home run pick for a second round rookie. We have to, remember that for a second. This dude was a second round rookie taken. This is his first, professional season, even though he played a lot of years at Creighton, but I do like want to see him be a better rebounder, particularly on defensive boards. He's 11th percentile among bigs in these 9 games in that regard. He just has to be better in that, right? Like he's got box. He's got to just sort of like take Moussa's whatever, like motor, whatever. I get he's like bigger, so it's hard to like sort of like navigate the rim, but he just got to do better like navigating rebounds, I guess. But yeah, he does give you size, rim protection. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to sort of like complain about Kalkbrenner as your backup center. I mean, he's just a really, like right now, a really solid backup center, like NBA rotation big, like I said. And for a second round rookie, that's, pretty damn good for Charlotte. Yeah. One last thing I'll say, this center rotation, I do feel like Diabate, Ryan, and like Grant small ball five, that's like a very like underrated group in like the like general NBA landscape. Considering like the resources Charlotte has paid or does pay them, right? They're getting like, I don't know, what would you say, like top 10 center room production around there?
Yeah, around there for sure. I don't know. Top 10 might be tricky, but for sure in the upper half, I'd say top 15 easy.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you
Yeah, I think
consider,
Moussa. Yeah,
as you said,
with
if you
Moussa, I
consider
think it's closer to
what
10.
they give up, what they gave up for them,
Mhm.
it's ridiculous how much they're getting out of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, it's just really like great value, I would say. We got two more players here. I think they're both sort of in the same bucket for me. We can go ahead and talk about both. It's Josh Green, Grant Williams. Two guys that came back from injuries mid-season for Charlotte, and it's kind of no coincidence that since both of them have been back, Charlotte has been like one of the best teams in the league, right? So we can start with Josh Green. I have Josh at an A. Josh on the season is 99th percentile in wings and point per shot attempt. He is also 99th percentile in the effective field goal percentage, which is ridiculous. During these 9 games, he's 45% from corner three, 44 from all three. What have you just thought from Josh Green? What did he give him the Hornets?
I've got him at a B. And I mean, kind of on a similar note as you, his efficiency offensively is incredible. Again, you can kind of point that back to the fact that the Hornets are healthy and he can really be that play finisher guy. That's kind of what he should be offensively, either take a three or attack the closeout. And then defensively, I think there's probably an argument to be made that he's the best wing defender on the team. He's not like an exceptional defender. I don't think he like stands out in a way, but he's for sure somebody that you can throw on a Kevin Durant and you'll see if it works out.
Mm-hmm.
Might not, but you can try. Just
the
only thing that for me is always kind of bothering me with Josh is the efficiency is great, but I just wish he'd be a bit more aggressive offensively. Just
That's
take
fair. That's fair.
2 more shots, go for the drive, don't pass back out. Like little things, but again, kind of nitpicky. So I think I've got him at a B, but he's been
Mhm,
really, really important to kind of get that depth back into the rotation.
mhm. I think his grade is just so high for me because, like, again, he's being used correctly. Like he's not a starter anymore for this team like he was last year. He's kind of just doing the same thing, right? He's shooting better obviously this year, but I think he's more healthy as well. But like he's not being asked to like play 30 plus minutes for you. He's your like eighth man, right? He's just being asked to stand in the corner, hit some threes, play some defense, get a steal here, here and there. Like it's very like simple, I guess, what he's being asked to do. I think he's doing a really good job at it, to be fair. So
Yeah.
I, I, the aggression is fair. That's a good point. I do like that. Yeah, and like just speaking to his season, like I guess in general, his off on numbers are just insane. Like if you look at clean the glass, Josh Green, like their offense like jumps like close to where it does with LaMelo. So
Yeah,
yeah, I mean,
his advanced stats
just been
are
super impactful. Good,
really, really
good.
great. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right, last guy we have is Grant Williams, who Albert was talking about earlier. What is your grade for Grant during post All-Star break?
I think if I paid attention correctly, you'll have him at an A plus, and I think I'll
Yes,
be
I
at
do.
least pretty close at an A. Um,
Oh, we can't get one A plus. Oh my God. Okay.
I had Musa was an A plus.
Oh,
So
right. Okay. Awesome.
um, Grant has been incredible. He stepped in for
Yes.
Miles in the first game post All Star break against Houston, where he was really, really good, both defensively, offensively. I think he had like 20 points. He guarded Şengün for like some stretches, did a very solid job. Um, since the All Star break, he's shooting 56.7% from three, which is uh, probably not sustainable, but
That's
it's
insane.
great. um,
He's shooting 69% on non-corner threes. But both 100 percentile what you just said. Go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, it's incredible. And only, I mean, minor concern is that he does sometimes defensively look a bit outmatched against like quicker, more athletic, more mobile force. Like I think he was on Bilal Koulibaly for the Wizards game for some time and had a bit of like a struggle guarding him, but it's really minor stuff. And even in the Washington game where I thought Koulibaly gave him some trouble in the beginning, he was a plus 33 in the end. So
Yeah, I
can't really
think Grant's
complain.
as just like a defender. I think he's an okay athlete. He's not like a crazy athlete like Miles is. So that's kind of like the big difference between them, along with like um, I guess like the initiation stuff and creation basically. But yeah, I just think Grant's been unbelievable for Charlotte as a connector, being like this strong, sturdy defender, being able to like in that Houston game, he guarded Şengün in like the second half and did like a pretty good job. Yeah, I just think, like I said earlier, he's been one of the best players on Charlotte during the stretch. He's a huge reason why they like held up with no Miles and Diabate, and he's just been awesome as like a backup like four for this team. He closed against Miami because he was playing so good, and yeah, I've just been super impressed. He's just another great role player on this team, which is I think an underrated part to why the Hornets are so good right now because their bench is so good, and like all these guys are just playing at a super high level for what they're being asked to do. So yeah.
Exactly. I mean, looking back at the teams from like 1 or 2 years ago, now we can look at this rotation. We've talked about 10 guys, and we can say that all of them have played at least solid, most of them good or
Mm-hmm.
very good over the stretch. And then 2 years ago, we could have said that about like maybe what, two guys, three guys.
Yeah,
So to come to this point, it's
they're not playing JT Thor anymore, man. You know what I'm
no
saying?
more no more Vasamicic.
Or Salaun, like shout out to Salaun, but like it's just like such a big jump between them as players. Like this is like a serious like playoff season rotation player who is from North Carolina, who loves being here, who's a leader. He's been massive for this team, man. But do you have anything else to say on Grant before we wrap up?
No, I think we pretty much covered it all with him. And also, of course, he gives the team like a sense of leadership and veteran
Yeah.
experience off the court, which is also
Mhm.
yeah, very, very important for this team if it wants to at least make like maybe a small playoff push.
Yeah, so that's all we kind of have for this one, guys. Appreciate you guys listening. Albert, where can the people find your work, man?
For now, just on Hornets on SI under my writer name, Albert Böttcher.
Gotcha. Yeah, for me, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Evan Campos _ at Evan Campos _. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure you guys like, comment, sub to the channel, and we will talk to you soon. Appreciate you guys.